some more on all of this with Democratic Congressman André Carson of Indiana. He's a key member of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you, Will.
Let me get your reaction to these reports now that CNN has confirmed that the White House counsel Don McGahn actually reached out to Sessions at the request of the president to try to convince him not to recuse himself from the Russia probe. In your view, does that act also qualify, potentially as obstruction of justice?
It looks, smells, and feels like it for certain.
Tell me why.
Well, I think in a very real sense, we do have a separation of powers. I think that Director Mueller is accomplished. He's well established. He's following his approach. We're following our approach. It's a three-pronged approach, including the Senate. And for President Trump to express this kind of anxiety, to try to reach out to Jeff Sessions and really thwart this effort, it's very suspicious, Will.
So what do you think the special counsel Robert Mueller is going to do about this?
That remains to be seen. I think, look, he's been in this game for a long time. Next to J. Edgar Hoover, he's the longest-serving director of the FBI. He's an accomplished investigator. He's respected in the law enforcement community, the intel community. He knows what he's doing. So President Trump should let him do his job and get to the bottom of this if he doesn't have any concerns. According
to the New York Times, and I'm sure you read the story, the president got very angry when Sessions refused to step down, when Sessions refused to go against the recommendation of recusal. As we know, he recused himself. But the president got very angry because the president told White House officials, according to this report, that he needs an attorney general who would be willing to protect him. What does that say to you about the president's understanding of what the Attorney General of the United States and the Justice Department of the United States are all about?
Well, I think that we could look at the great example of President Obama. He and Director Holder AG Holder had a friendship, but they understood that they had to be separate regarding those matters. And I think Trump should take a cue from President Obama and his relationship with Attorney General Holder.
He told the New York Times in that interview a couple of weeks ago that he has an absolute right, his words, absolute right, this is President Trump, to do what he wants with the Justice Department. Does it look now like he's trying to exercise what he considers to be his absolute right?
Those are the impulses of a tyrant, the impulses of a dictator. No, look, the Founding Fathers, as complicated as they were, and they were very complicated, they were at least visionary enough to establish separate branches of government. And I think the investigatory arm has to be able to do its job, and the president, if he hasn't done any wrongdoing, should have a clear conscience and still lead our country.
But the Justice Department is part of the executive branch of the U.S. government, not part of the legislative branch or the judicial branch.
This is true, but the president does not have the right to issue directives to the Justice Department to protect his personal interests.
Because that would be, you believe, obstruction.
A clear obstruction of justice.
Let's talk about another item in the New York Times. The Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, according to the New York Times, asked the congressional staffer to get dirt or damaging information about James Comey, the FBI director, before he was fired. A spokeswoman for the Justice Department flatly is denying that part of the New York Times report. But if it's true that Sessions was trying to do this, what does that say to you?
I think that we are in the midst of a corrupt government. I think we're in the midst of an attorney general and a president who have serious issues involving integrity.
Some Republicans in the House of Representatives, and you're in the House, including the chair of the influential House Freedom Caucus, Mark Meadows, Jim Jordan, among others, they're now calling on Sessions to step down. Some Democrats, ironically, now want to protect Sessions. They don't want him to step down because that would be an opening for the president to get a new attorney general who could who would not be recused from the Russia investigation. Do you agree with the Senate Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer, who says Sessions now must be protected at all costs?
Well, I think Schumer's impulses are right. Listen, Sessions is a seasoned politician. I don't see him risking his career all for Donald Trump. I hope not. But if he were to step down, Trump's going to keep removing AGs until he gets it right.
Stand by, Congressman. There's more we need to discuss, including word now that the Clinton Foundation is under investigation by the FBI and the Justice Department. We'll update you on that. A lot more right after a quick break. We're back with Democratic Congressman André Carson of Indiana. He's a key member of the House Intelligence Committee. Want to talk to him about a newly revealed investigation of the Clinton Foundation by the FBI and federal prosecutors. Congressman, stand by. I want to get the latest information that we're learning from our justice reporter, André Carson. What's your reaction when you hear about this, that the FBI, federal prosecutors, federal investigators are now looking into the Clinton Foundation, the possibility there could be pay for play, that money was donated to the Clinton Foundation in exchange for policy favors from then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton?
Well, if an investigation has to take place, it should take place. However, I think it's very suspicious that the closer and closer we get to President Trump or his inner circle, we see all these distractions. I think this is yet another distraction.
But do you think that the FBI and federal prosecutors, Justice Department investigators would be doing this simply because of pressure from the president or from the attorney general on down?
I can't say, nor will I say definitively, but I think the timing is questionable. But I think if an investigation has to take place and there hasn't been any wrongdoing, let the investigation take place.
Because these are career professionals, and you have a background in law enforcement. You understand that the FBI doesn't necessarily get involved in a full-scale investigation unless there's some evidence there that would justify it.
That's why I say let the investigation take place. If nothing has happened that's illegal, then everything is fine. If it has happened, then justice will take course. But I think the timing is still suspicious.
All right, put on your hat as a member of the Intelligence Committee for a moment. Where do you guys have any hearings scheduled? Are you moving forward? Because all of these reports of dissension between Democrats and Republicans in your committee and elsewhere seem to be suggesting, at least Adam Schiff, the ranking Democrat on the committee, that you guys have a problem.
Adam Schiff is a remarkable leader. He's a good friend of mine. He's trying to get access to information. The Republicans are really being difficult in that regard. My hope is that as we move into the new year, 2018, an election year, by the way, my Republican colleagues will be more transparent with the American people. They're so concerned about taxpayer dollars. Well, put American people's taxpayer dollars to use by being transparent, calling in the appropriate witnesses so we can get to the bottom of this Russia deal.
Congressman André Carson, thanks as usual for
Always an honor. Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.